Hey guys, insight number 4 here. Now, just before we skip over to Mark 11, note that in Matthew 22 is one of my favorite scriptures ever. And just a way of trying to live life after having some pretty awful things in my life. Instead of being bitter, I chose to be better. And this one I kind of focused on. Well, I really did, I really focused on this. So this is verses 35 through 40, talking about this is a lawyer tempting him. What is the great commandment in the law? Like, which one is the greatest? What's the thing? And Jesus said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy mind, with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like unto it, Thou shalt love thy neighbour as thyself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. And you think about all the laws and commandments we have, hang off those two things. To love God, love the Lord thy God with everything you have, and to love your neighbour as yourself. And I think what gets in there is that we don't love ourselves enough to love others the same way. So that's something that's really passionate to me. But I know that a lot of people will touch on that this week in teaching, or maybe not, but to have a look at that. There's no deeper meaningful to it other than how you feel and how you fit in that. It's about having that relationship with God, not just having a relationship with an organization called church, because it's really easy to leave an organization. Super hard to leave a relationship that you love someone in. So commandments then become not something that you have to do. It's something that you do because you love Christ. So that was really, really helpful to me. I don't know how you feel about that, but I just wanted to mention that's in Matthew 22, and I really do love it. I just felt that we should focus on a few other things this week, because we often focus on that kind of topic. So let's look at some other things. So in Mark 11, verses 1 to 6, this is the better account of getting the colt, or the donkey, or whatever, but your teenage donkey, they call it a colt. So we'll go with colt. So, again, this is another account of what we just talked about in Matthew, but this is going back to getting the colt. So, that's not K-C-U-L-T, that's C-O-L-T. Riding animal, okay. So they're coming up to Bethany at the Mount of Olives, and he sent forth 2 of his disciples. Now in verse 2 it says, Go your way into the village. And that's one of the things I really like about this, is that he's trusting these 2 to know what to do and how to do it. He didn't give them a set of complete instructions with X, Y, Z and time stamps, and this is what you're going to say, what you're going to do. He's just like, I trust you to get this done, and I know that it's going to work for you. Go and do. And this is what Nephi embraced when he's like, I will go and do what the Lord commands, because I know he's going to provide a way. I know he's going to make it possible. I have no idea how yet, but if he says I can do it, I'm going to go do it. So this is I guess Nephi just had a bit more Christ relationship going on, and our disciples here are still kind of learning that. So they go on, and they find a colt tied whereon a man sat, and he says to them, You'll find a colt tied whereon never a man sat. So, no one's used him yet. He's totally fresh, and you're going to bring him to me. And if any man say unto you, Why do you this? Say that the Lord hath need of him, and straightway he will send him hither. So he's saying, okay, you're going to take him. Somebody's going to say to you, What are you doing? And you're going to say, The Lord has need of him. And they're going to let you take him. And you're thinking, well, it's kind of thievery. You're just taking it. So this is, you'd wander all the way there going how's this going to work out? How are we going to do this? You might even have a discussion with who you're with. So what do you take from how you do, right? So in verse 4, they went on their way. They went their way. How they thought was best, how they felt guided. This is them learning how to do this really, really good. Found the colt tied by the door without in a place where 2 ways met, and they loose him. So he was in must have been a pathways meeting kind of hub place. And they took him. And certain of them that stood there, so there's men standing there going, What do ye loosing the colt? Why are you taking my horse? Right? Why are you taking that? And they said unto them, even as Jesus had commanded, and they let him go. And they, as we said, brought the colt to Jehoshaphat. So these men didn't argue. You think if you walked up to somebody now at like a place where they were meeting and you needed like transport and you just kind of took the car and somebody would say, what are you doing taking my car? You'd be like, oh, the Lord needs it. They're probably going to kick you and maybe call the cops that you're stealing their car. So these are some pretty devoted people to Christ that know that these two are doing the right thing. And this was a lesson for like both parties involved in this getting of the colt. So those that had to go and do it had to learn to do it in their way and that they could do it. And also for those that were there and believing that Christ would bless them accordingly for their now missing colt. So our hearts, our hearts, sorry guys, are our hearts devoted to Christ in this way. And you think of the hymn, and there's a different hymn put in this week's Come Follow Me, which is good, but I like this one better for this particular purpose and lesson, is I'll go where you want me to go. Like, over mountain or sea, wherever, I'll go where you want me to go. And you guys know for ages I've talked about this, where for years we wanted to move and I wanted to do something else. Like, I'll go wherever you want me to go. And the Lord just kept saying to me, no, I need you here. And I'm like, I don't really want to be here. He's like, but you said you'd go wherever you wanted to go. I was like, yeah, but I mean, like, go away from here. He's like, yeah, but I need you here. So it was not an argument, but it was a semi, nudge, nudge, wink, wink sort of debate going on for years about, I'll do whatever you need me to do. What do you need me to do? I need you to stay here. And I'm like, no, you're not hearing me. And I wasn't trying to be disrespectful, and I could hear him sort of giggling back at me going, I told you to stay where you are. That's where I need you. Oh, yeah, but no, this is going on. But to trust him in that way, to know that actually it will all work out and it's okay. And I even got asked about ministering last night, like, do I want to change, just my Relief Society president checking in with me. And I was like, you know what? If you pray about it and you really feel that I need to go ministering with this sister and go visit these people, then I'll do that. Like, I trust your judgment on prayer. And I know that Christ wouldn't put me in a situation that was bad. And even if he did, it would be for a reason, for me to see it and to fix it and remedy it with his help, with the Relief Society president's help, and to make it better for everybody involved. So that's what I get. But the most detailed account of obtaining the colt or the donkey and the owner's reaction. See how Jesus also instructs his apostles here to do it their way. In other words, I'm with you, be guided by the Spirit and figure it out. He trusts us like this too. He really does. Verse 5 to 6 is remarkable in showing the devoted heart of the owner or owners to Christ. Choosing Christ's road for you means giving up things you love. It really does. They must have nobody was like mega rich where he was. This wasn't like this was a colt that hadn't been written on before. This wasn't like a farm where there were thousands of them that they could have spared one. No. So they really had that devotion in there. Choosing Christ's road for you means giving up things you love. It really does. Yet because you trust and love him more, this love prevails. So what is your why of your hard path? Like, there's a hard path. There's something you've had to give up to be where you are. And why do you choose Christ? And you might be in the middle of figuring that out. And that's completely fine. Keep at it. Don't give up. Keep figuring it out. But sometimes we know what that is already. I know I know a lot of what my hard path was. It's very easy to identify. And I know some of what I've given up. I probably have no idea of all that I've given up because I haven't really noticed. And sometimes I give things up and immediately forget about it because it really wasn't too big a deal to me. Other things are a bigger deal, and I remember those ones. Yet I still chose Christ because it was the right thing. It was the best thing. Not only just for me, but just for the bigger picture, for all that was going on. It was just the better thing. And it's brave to do that. It takes a lot of courageousness, a lot of valiancy, a lot of being valiant to do this, a lot of bold pleading prayer to be able to do all this and to make those decisions. They are not easy, but they are really worth it. And sometimes it takes a long time to make it worth it. So there we go. But anyway, Nella F. Marriott, wonderful, wonderful speaker, said, when we give our heart to the Father and the Son, we change our world. We don't change their world, we change our world. When we give our heart up and are willing to go wherever they want us to go, we change our world. And we change it for good, even though it looks hard and even though it requires work and effort. Don't be spiritually privileged. Like, work at it. It's so worth it. So, there you go. Alright, one more to go. We are popping over to Luke 19 and checking in there. I'll see you there.